we can go ahead and bring up Robert's question. So he says, first, happy Sabbath to you guys. If love is beyond feelings, is loving God an emotion, a feeling, or a decision?
And then his next question, yeah.
And then let's bring his next question up because it's related. Is there a thing called being in love and having love for somebody, but not in a relationship way? I know the Bible speaks of another type of love.
Hey, Robert, that is an awesome, awesome question, and definitely one I love to talk about. And yeah, I love to talk about love. It's actually one of my favorite subjects. So let's jump to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, because this is the best definition of love you'll find anywhere on the planet. So 1 Corinthians chapter 1. Sorry, chapter 13, and let's start at verse 4. And I do not suggest the King James Version on this one, because King James Version uses a confusing word. It uses charity instead of love. But this word love that we're talking about here is the Greek word agape. And agape is this very special love where it's, this self-sacrificing, other persons come first love that reached its pinnacle demonstration in the life of Jesus. I mean, Jesus did everything for everybody else and gave everything he had for everybody else. And this is where Paul, for example, in the book of Philippians, I think Philippians chapter 2, he talks about, the whole sacrifice God made. He didn't even consider his godhood, his divinity, to be something that he could cling to, but gave it up to become a man, to die and do all he did for us. And so we come to 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4. And let's read that. And maybe Wendy, would you like to read that?
Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud.
And next verse.
It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs.
Great. Thank you. So as we can see here, love is not a feeling. It is not emotion. This agape love is really a way of living, a way of life, and how we should interact with people, how we see our relationships and our interactions with the world. And remember, like, if we go to the book of John, the book, one of his letters, 1 John chapter 4, verse 8, it says, he who does not love does not know God, for God is love. So it is a thing. It's not emotion, it's not feeling. God isn't emotion, he's not feeling. He's this high principle. He's this higher concept. It's almost like action, this thing that takes action, that brings into reality things that are good. And that is really what the essence and heart of love is. And, I think this love should come with emotion. God gave us emotions to add spice to life. And we should feel great. We should feel this incredible feeling when we're with like-minded brothers and sisters and people who just like, wow, I just love being with this person. I feel so good. And it doesn't mean you're sexually attracted or, anything like that. It can just mean that you get to enjoy each other's presence. You can have, a long-term, mutually beneficial, giving and taking, sharing, benefiting each other relationship. And that's really how God wants us to all have our experience. And it's interesting how when it comes to marriage, God says man and woman will become like one flesh. But then we come to the New Testament, and Jesus's prayer to his Father is, Lord, make my disciples, make my people like one, as we are one. And it's by love that we can enter into this state of oneness with each other. And again, it's not this physical oneness as you might have in terms of a husband and a wife, but now this oneness is just, oneness of spirit, being in one accord, like we saw the disciples experiencing on the day of Pentecost. And it's this incredible experience that God's people are intended to have. God wants all life to experience this. And this is why God's law at the end of the day is to love. If we are not loving, we are actually sinning, because sin is the opposite of love. So hope this is helpful. Great question. And Tina, Wendy, anything else you would like to add?
I think that says it.
Okay. We do have a comment from Uncle MG, very timely. He says, Wendy, maybe you could read
He
it.
says John 3:16 says that God so loved that he gave. There are multiple verses that link love with giving.
That's right. And so, yeah, love that does not bear fruit, that is without action, is not really genuine love. Yeah, good point. Thank you, Uncle MG.